So, the question is Superman, the movie, the greatest superhero movie of all time? Yes and no. Scott Action Jackson here, and I'm here to talk about Superman, the movie. Once again, like the Muppet movie, part of me didn't want to make this video, because this is a great movie. Even though the question does come up, is it the greatest superhero movie of all time? Yes and no. Now, most people know the main plot story behind Superman. For those who don't know, just before the destruction of Krypton, Jor-El sends his infant son to Earth, who was raised by Jonathan and Martha Kent, and young Clark discovers his powers and moves to Metropolis to fight evil. As Superman, he battles the villainous Lex Luthor, while as reporter Clark Kent, he attempts to woo coworker Lois Lane. Now, that short summary kind of explains a lot as far as like the beginnings of this character. This is another movie I grew up with and continue to watch whenever I can. And whether it is the original theatrical version or the special edition or even, oh God almighty, the 3-hour edition, there is so much extra stuff you don't need. Overall, there are some great cast choices here when they made this movie. Christopher Reeve was a great Superman and Clark Kent. I mean, the one thing I love the most about his Clark Kent is that it reminds me of my uncle. My uncle was a bit goofy and saying old words and quotes like that.
Gosh, on the whole, I'd say it's been swell.
Swell?
This version of Lex Luthor that they had in this movie, to me, was a great version of Lex Luthor. Nothing compared to Michael Rosenbaum, mind you, but still a great Lex Luthor. One of many things that I love the most from this movie. This little conversation between Jonathan Kent and teenage Clark Kent.
And there's one thing I do know, son, and that is you are here for a reason.
Whole Jonathan Kent talk with Clark. To me, this is the more superior one, because in Man of Steel, we get the whole,
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
seriously, who the fuck came up with that stupid shit? I mean, do we have, like, the same writers on Man of Steel here who wrote Brightburn? And how is there going to be any hope whatsoever if you're telling people to let others die and not help them? Okay, the score for the movie. Much like the Muppet movie, once you hear the music, you know what it's for. I'm trying to think, for me, it's like, the only thing I didn't really like, and I do mean that, just don't like, I didn't hate it, was the fact that there wasn't really that much more actual Superman battling stuff, which unfortunately we get with the rebooted introduction to Superman with the Man of Steel, and don't even get me started with that crap. I have issues with Man of Steel. It looks nice, but if I wanted a darker tone Superman, I'd stick with Brightburn, and that's really dark and evil. But much like what I guess Superman slash Kal-El is trying to represent in the Man of Steel movie, Superman in here is more or less really a beacon of hope. And to be honest, I don't give a shit what anyone else says. To me, This is the best Superman. Christopher Reeve played the best Superman, period. Now, if I had to go back and look at other versions of each of the characters here, like I said, Christopher Reeve is the best Superman. As far as Clark Kent, I'd probably have to give that to Tom Welling, because in Smallville, I enjoyed what he gave for the Clark Kent role. Just like Michael Rosenbaum in Smallville, what he gave for the Lex Luthor role there. I don't exactly like the Jor-El that we got in this movie. I mean, they had to cast a big name like Marlon Brando to, I guess, draw people in, but things I've heard and read about him, he couldn't even say Krypton right. Now, while this movie version of the Kents, Jonathan and Martha, were okay, I definitely find the Smallville ones better. More or less because we get to see more of them and see them trying to help out Clark. Overall, this is a great movie. Even with its little bits of campiness here and there, and even if it's got a few goofs in it, I'd say if anyone's able to actually watch Superman the movie from 1978, they should do so. It can give people hope, much like the Muppet movie can. Now go ahead and leave a comment down below on your memories of this movie, the Superman movie from 1978.